On the last episode of OlympusCraft, I really want to work with villagers, but I'm not really interested in setting up a giant villager trading system this early in the server's life. I think other people are also working on it too, so we're just going to set up a few villagers. We've got our pocket villagers here. Hello everyone, jblader here, and welcome back to the OlympusCraft server. I've got better things to do. Back and I set up my storage from last time. You saw that. jblader, it's nighttime, you might say, and you are outside without any armor on. Well, I don't really have to worry too much about mobs in this area because of this item in front of me here, the Magnum Torch. This thing is great. It costs a few diamonds to make one, but it will stop mobs from spawning in a 64 block radius of the torch. So I've got a few of these placed around my base here. There's another one over there you can see the light from, and that'll stop hostile mobs from spawning at night, which means that we can decorate this area without really having to worry about the lighting. But for the lighting on the outside of my house, in between episodes, I added some lamps and some of these really cute garden lights, which is really fun. Currently, I am being stalled by my XP. The amount of experience I need in order to continue in the game is kind of what is stopping my progression. Let's take a look at my gear. You can see it's not super great and it's taken a beating. So before I get mending on all this stuff to repair it, which takes experience, or I get better enchantments, which takes experience, I am going to need an XP source. So for the first half of today's episode, we are going to work on a fancy XP source so that we can use all of these books that we got in the last episode. In the second part of the episode, we are going to work on a shop in the spawn area where I can sell some of the fancy books that I got in the last episode. So to get started, I'm going to be making a blaze farm, and we have some blocks here that is going to make this blaze farm quite unique. We have something called vector plates, which are going to move mobs. They're basically like water streams. You see I step on it and it moves me, and we can actually make these things faster as well with the fast vector plate. So this is the dark utility mod, so that's kind of what we're going to be playing around with today. So I'm going to craft up a bunch of these. Okay, we got about 2 stacks of those, and then we're going to turn some of them into this fast vector plate. Takes a little bit of gold, but we should have plenty of gold. Alright, there we go. 2 stacks of the fast vector plates, or a stack and a half. That should be plenty to do what we want to do today. I'm also going to be making a main plate. Let's take a look at this. It takes an iron sword, some deep slate, some shroom lights. So let's craft an iron sword, and then we're going to craft a main plate. This will give us 3 main plates. This will drop a mob down to being 1-hit kill, so it does non-lethal damage, but it will not kill it, which makes farms like this super easy. I've got these backpacks too, so we're going to load up the backpacks with all the resources that we're going to need, and we're going to head to the nether fortress that's kind of near me, because I know that there's a blaze spawner there that Code found the other day, and we are going to be using that as a starting point. So let's head over to the blaze farm that I made with a blaze spawner that Code found. It was a little dangerous when I first got there the first time, so I made it a little bit safer. As you see here, it's pretty simple. We have a blaze spawner that is basically disabled by having blocks all around the spawning area, basically 4 on each side, and then we have small areas where they can spawn. There we go, right on cue, and we can come in here with our sword, whack them, and then pick up the blaze rod. So very, very rudimentary blaze farm, and we're going to be stepping up a little bit. If we come over here, there's actually another blaze spawner, and this one has not been disabled yet. So first thing I'm going to do is disable this one. To disable a blaze spawner, you place 4 blocks out from every direction. You technically only need to go 3, I think, in one direction because of how the directions work in the game. But we're just going to go out in 4 direction. We're going to do 2 tall, kind of like this. Okay, and so that should cut down on basically all of the spawns. What we're going to do now is just clear out this area a little bit, so I have a little bit of area to work with, and I will let's time-lapse that. Yeah, I might just go ahead and build the whole thing. It's not super complicated. I'm at least going to build the space. We're going to surround this thing in a box, so let's get going. Okay, we've just got to set up this redstone. Probably an easier way to do this, but what this will do is when this tripwire activates, it'll just send a pulse into this block, making this trapdoor activate, allowing the blaze to fall through, and then it'll trap them in this area. We do this because if a blaze aggroes onto you from this area, it'll attempt to fly back up. If you're building this in vanilla Minecraft and you don't have access to the dark utility blocks that we're getting ready to use, like the Maimer here, you're going to have to use a timer and a crusher. And that type of farm has been in the game forever, so I know you'll be able to find a design of that. It is one of the first videos I think Ethos Lab ever uploaded was a Blaze Crusher tutorial and a timer, and that's where like one of the famous Ethos hopper clock comes from, if you guys are familiar with that. Some old school redstone. Anyhow's it, we are going to, before I decorate this kind of building, we're not going to decorate it too much, just basically make it safe. I'm going to put these dark utility fast vector plates in, and I wanted to do some of that on camera so that you could see how it's done and how fast and useful these things are. Again, if you, yeah, that's how fast these are. If you're playing this mod pack, check these things out. Very, very cool. The fast vector plates, they take some gold, but look how fast they move entities. And they move hostile mobs, passive mobs, players, items, and yeah, just it's pretty fascinating. So make sure you give these things a view if you're interested. I'm going to take a fire resistant potion just in case things go haywire, but it should be as simple as hopping in here and removing some of these blocks with the vein mining enchant. It makes things pretty dang easy. Well, for you, it's been 10 seconds. For me, it's been a few hours, and I have finally got this thing all done. I cleared out a ton of space around the farm. This is totally excessive. You do not need to use glass. You do not need to clear this much space if you don't want to, but I did just to make this place a little safer. Added some creeper decor on each side, brought over an enchanting table, and I've been doing a little bit of enchanting and getting a bunch of gear. The hammer name means that it has vein mining, so it acts like a modded hammer used to act, and then the picks or the axes or the spoons, I call them, they are kind of just single block only. And I also made some swords. We got a Skulk Slayer here, we got a Sharpness, we got a Smite. This should be all the stuff I need for the time being. Gosh, these guys are so loud. And I did a little bit of AFKing to get some levels, and obviously got a ton of blaze rods. This thing is awesome. The main plate makes this so easy. The sticky piston puts in here and makes sure that they can come down and they stay in this area. And then I was smelting a bunch of stuff for XP too, so I put in a bunch of furnaces around the bottom, which is great because blaze rods are a great fuel source. About 5.5 rods will stack will smelt a stack of items, and I made a little entrance here for anyone to get in, and I let everybody on the server know where it's at. So if you're watching and you're playing on the server, come over here and check this out. Anyway, it's time to switch gears. We're going to be building, and I already got a few resources ready for this, but I'm going to need a few more resources for the shop that we're going to set up. It's going to be kind of a pop-up shop, but I'm excited to get it built. So let's switch gears over to the spawn area. So for this shop, I wanted to do something that is mobile. That means if it moves later or if it disappears altogether, that's okay. So I decided to design a bus. But to do a bus, we're going to need a road first. So I started with a road using basalt and using deep slate. I'm placing all of these blocks manually, but I've heard that a trowel is actually a way to randomize some blocks. If you put some different blocks in your hotbar, it'll randomize it for you. So if you're playing this pack, check that out. I've included some parts in here where I messed up, just show that even though I play Minecraft all the time, with any type of aesthetical or creative thing, there's always some trial and error, so don't be afraid to try new things, and if it doesn't work out, tear it down and start it again. Also, two members of the server, FuzzyCup and Zinjy, came over and said hi, and I sold them some blaze rods. They were doing some exploring, and we talked a little bit about plans for the server and what we want to do with this area. That's the great part about playing on a server like this, is you get the chance to talk to people and work together to create some cool things. Well, I hope that you enjoyed that time lapse. Here is the finished product. I tried to add a lot of details. We have these parapets. I think that's what they're called. Really cool. They're for like windowsills. Look, they work great for some detail like this. We have a stop sign. That's the copper trap door. We've got these custom iron panel bars here at the front, but all of this is pretty vanilla friendly, so don't feel like you can't build something like this on your own, because I don't think it's too difficult. You can definitely figure it out. So here's the inside. I'm going to stock it off camera. We've got some mending books, we've got efficiency 4 and breaking 3 and soulbound, and I've got efficiency 5, excuse me, and breaking 3, efficiency 5. I've got some other stuff I want to put in here, including an ender chest in case people need access to an ender chest for items, but I've got it crammed full of different books, and this will be a great place for people to stop, and I should be able to make a few diamonds here. Anyway, guys, that is going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure that you leave a thumbs up. It was really fun to work on a variety of projects, one more technical and one more aesthetic, and I hope that you enjoyed too. Take care, guys!